Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is about the deductions from the gross total income pertaining to individual assessee. Kindly watch the video till the end. If you like, hit the like button and subscribe the channel and share with your friends. If you have any comments about the video, please put your comments in the comment box. Now, let's begin with the presentation. Every law in India has got certain provisions which will help the people to utilize them, and the income tax law is not an exception to this. The Indian tax laws contain certain provisions which are intended to act as an incentive for achieving certain desirable socio-economic objectives. The very purpose of collection of the tax by the government is to spend for the welfare of the people. So that's why in economics we call it as, Adam Smith calls it as welfare states. These provisions are contained in chapter 6A in the form of deductions under section 80C to 80U from the gross total income. And these deductions can be claimed by the various persons such as individual assessee, company, partnership firm, LLP, cooperative society, etc. The discussion will be restricted only to the deductions which can be claimed by the individual assessee. These deductions will help the assessee in reduction of his taxable income and thereby lead to decrease in the tax liability of the assessee. The total income is computed after the aggregation of the incomes from all the 5 heads such as income from salary, income from house property, income from business or profession, capital gain, and income from other sources. Once the income is aggregated from all these various sources of heads, then the assessee can set off of the losses. Then the result will be the gross total income, and from such gross total income the amount of deduction will be allowed under section 80C to 80U, and such amount of deduction shall not exceed the gross total income. In other words, to say, an assessee can claim deduction only to the extent of the income available. And one more thing should be noted, that these deductions are not allowed from the long-term capital gain, then the short-term capital gain on the shares which are subject to security transaction tax, winnings from lotteries, races, like other casual incomes, then income which is referred under section 115, that is a share of association of persons or body of individuals. So the income is the gross total income is the aggregation of income from all the 5 heads, which does not include the long-term capital gain, the short-term capital gain, which is subjected to tax under section 111A, then winnings from lotteries, as it is taxed at a flat rate. Then the assessee will be allowed to set off of the losses under various heads. The resulting figure is nothing but what we call it as gross total income, and from such gross total income deductions will be allowed. Now let's look into certain basic rules of the deductions. The aggregate amount of deduction under section 80C to 80U cannot exceed the gross total income this gross total income is exclusive of the long-term capital gain, short-term capital gain, which is subject to tax under section 111A, and other casual incomes. These deductions are to be allowed if the assessee actually spends the money or makes investment during the previous year. In other words, to say, these reductions are allowed only if the assessee claims these and gives the proof of such investments or expenditure or income. Say, for example, if the assessee claims that he has made investment of rupees 1,50,000 in a public provident fund, so he should provide the printout of the passbook so that he can prove that he has made investment in the public provident fund. And these deductions can be claimed by only the assessee, not the beneficiary of the assessee. Say, for example, if the father has made investment, his wife, his children cannot claim the deduction here. So the person who earns income and who makes investment out of it, only such person can claim the deduction here. And the deduction is allowed only if the income is computed according to the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961 here. And such an assessee is compulsory to file his return of income within the specified time limit or within the specified date here. So we classify there are various deductions in section 80C to 80U, and such deductions are classified into basically into 4 categories here. The deduction with respect to encourage savings, deduction with respect to certain personal expenditure for the assessee or for assessee's family members or the dependent. Then there are certain deductions which will be allowed to an assessee for incurring expenditure for socially desirable activities. Then there are certain deductions which will be allowed to physically disabled persons. So in the subsequent slides, we are going to discuss about these deductions in my subsequent videos. So in this video, we'll be covering the deductions with an intention to encourage savings among the general public. So now let's begin here. These deductions are section 80C, section 80CCC, and section 80CCD here. The very purpose of allowing these deductions is to mobilize the savings. The government expects the people to make savings so that which can be used for the welfare activities. So for that reason here, the deductions will be allowed, and this will reduce the taxable income of the assessee here. And such deductions are section 80C with respect to the deduction which is allowed for making certain payments and making certain investments. Section 80CCA in respect of national savings scheme, but which is now deleted here, right now. Section 80CCC, this is the contribution to the pension fund. Section 80CCD, contribution to the pension scheme of the central government or any other. Section 80CCD2, employers' contribution to NPS. So now let us discuss these things in detail. Section 80C, it is with respect to the payment of the life insurance premium, etc. here. Of course, this deduction was introduced from the assessment year of 2006-07. During that period, the government was having a crisis of the funds for the purpose of making the investment in various developmental projects. So the government has thought of introducing the section 80C as the standard deduction was withdrawn at that time. So now let's look at the certain features of this deduction here. This deduction is of course available from the gross total income here, and this deduction is claimed by only the individuals and Hindu undivided family. Other associates like partnership firm, company, cooperative society, AOP cannot claim this kind of deduction here. And such deduction is available on the basis of the specified qualifying investments or the contribution made by the assessee or the amount deposited or the amount paid by the assessee, which together it is called as gross qualifying amount. There are two steps in computing the deduction under section 80C, that is a computation of the gross qualifying amount, which I said just now. It is the aggregation of the investments, the contribution, the amount deposited, the payments made by the assessee, then amount of deduction here. So which are those, then how to calculate the gross qualifying here? So the gross qualifying is the sum of or the aggregation of the certain payments, investments, contribution made by the assessee. We will discuss one by one here. The life insurance premium paid. If the assessee takes the policy covering his life or covering the life year, he can claim the deduction under section 80C here. The life insurance premium paid on his own life or on the life of the spouse or on the life of the child. Such child may be dependent or independent, major or minor, married or unmarried. In case of individual assessee, in case of HUF, such a policy may be taken on the life of the any member of the family. Here the maximum qualifying amount of the premium paid by the assessee is 10% of the policy amount or the actual premium paid by the assessee during the previous year. Whichever is lower is qualifying for deduction section 80C here. So the policy should be taken on the life of himself or on the life of the spouse, that is wife or husband, as the case may be, or on the life of the child, but not on the life of the dependents like parents, brothers, sisters. So the premium paid by the assessee on the life on the policy of the life which covers the life of his dependents is not eligible for qualifying for deduction section 80C. Then payment in respect of non-commutable deferred annuity here. So in this case here, if the assessee has made any provision for his spouse or children by making investment here, the qualifying amount is the actual amount paid by him or 1/5 of the salary, whichever is less, or what we call as a 20%. Say for example, if the assessee is not covered by the pension, then in such case he will contribute for non-commutable deferred annuity. So only after his retirement or on his death, the sum will be paid to his successor or the inheritance. So in such case, the actual amount contributed or 20% of the salary of the salary, whichever is lower, is allowable here. Then the lump sum deducted from the salary payable to the government employee. Any lump sum deducted from the salary payable to a government employee for the purpose of securing him a deferred annuity subject to maximum of 20% of the salary for the benefit of the individual or the spouse. Here that means here the employer himself will deduct from the employee's salary for providing a deferred annuity, that is the fixed sum of money either on his death or on his retirement to the members of the family or for himself in case of retirement. So during the course of his service, he will be contributing for such a fund. So the 20% of the salary or Actual contribution, whichever is less, is allowable here. Then contribution made to any statutory provident fund, recognized provident fund, qualifies for deduction to section 80C. So here when we are considering this here, we should consider the contribution made by the employee but not by the employer. Then a contribution to public provident fund. If an assessee who opens a PPF account either with a post office or with a scheduled banks like State Bank of India, etc., with a minimum of rupees 500 and a maximum of rupees 1,50,000, the income tax, actually the PPF Act does not provide any ceiling limit for the contribution, but whereas the income tax itself says the maximum amount can be contributed is rupees 1,50,000. So if the assessee contributes towards a public provident fund here, in such case it qualifies for deduction section 80C. Then contribution to an approved superannuation fund, say for example if the assessee is a member of any fund which will be provided him after his retirement, in such cases any contribution made by him towards such a superannuation fund also qualifies for deduction section 80C here. Then contribution for participating in unit linked insurance plan. There are certain insurance plan which is linked with the market. Probably the market the unit policies such as a Market Plus or Money Plus policies launched by the LIC or other insurers, so which are connected with the stock market here. To give an example here, so LIC previously it launched a policy called as Dhan Raksha plan. Such ULIP should be held by the CF for a minimum period of 5 years. So this minimum period of 5 years is nothing but what we call as a lock-in period. So the assessee cannot stop making the payment. If the ULIP is terminated before the expiry of 5 years, the amount paid towards such plans during the previous year will be treated as his deemed income of the assessee, and hence it will be included in the total income. So if the assessee becomes a member of a ULIP policy, he needs to continue to make the payment of the premium continuously, and it must be held by the assessee for a minimum period of 5 years, the lock-in period. So if he terminates, if he does not contribute at least for 5 years, in such case whatever till he has paid, it is treated as a deemed income, and which will be included in his taxable income. Then payment for annuity plan of LIC. It is known fact that people who get employment in the government sector on or after 1/1/2004, they are not eligible for pension, and this opportunity was encashed by the many insurance company, and they came out with many retirement solution plans. So this, if the assessee takes any retirement plan here, then in such case any payment made by him is qualifying for deduction to section 80C here. Such policies, to give the examples, the policies launched by LIC like Jeevan Dhara, New Jeevan Akshay, etc. here. Then subscription towards units of UTI or any other mutual fund. If an assessee who subscribes to the units of the UTI or mutual fund, even that qualifies for deduction to section 80C here. Then contribution to National Pension Fund, notified pension fund set up by the UTI or mutual funds, even that qualifies for deduction to section 80C here. Then similarly, any sum paid including accrued interest as subscription to home loan account scheme of National Housing Bank, or contribution to any notified pension fund set up by National Housing Bank, or it may be like by the HUDCO. So in such case, the subscription paid that qualifies for deduction section 80C here. So the public sector company engaged in providing long-term finance or purchase or construction of the residential house in India, that is a public deposit scheme of HUDCO. So if the assessee is a member of such schemes here, he can claim deduction section 80C for making contribution towards such schemes. Then any sum paid as a tuition fees, but not including any payment towards donation or payment of similar nature, whether at the time of admission or otherwise, to any university or college or educational institutions in India for full-time education. It is available up to maximum of 2 children. So tuition fees paid up to for maximum of 2 children that qualify for deduction section 80C. Any payment excluding interest towards the cost of purchase or construction of a residential property, including repayment of the loan taken from the government or life insurance corporation, banks, cooperative banks, national housing bank, assessees employer, where such employer is a public company or public sector company. In a very simple words to say, repayment of the housing loan qualifies for deduction under section 80C except the interest on such a loan. Then if the assessee makes any investment in the approved debentures and equity shares of public company engaged in infrastructure, including power sector or units of mutual fund, that qualifies for deduction section 80C. Amount deposited as a term deposit for a period of 5 years or more in accordance with the scheme framed by the government and deposit in under senior citizen savings schemes. So even that will qualify for deduction section 80C here. So the amount must be kept with a banker for a minimum period of 5 years. Till 5 years, the amount cannot be withdrawn. In such case, it qualifies for deduction section 80C. Amount deposited in Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana qualifies for deduction section 80C. It is the scheme which is launched by the central government in order to protect the interest of the female child. So the assessee can contribute a minimum of rupees 1,000, maximum may be, there is no limit. Then such amount will be paid to the child after the attainment of 18 years age, either for her marriage or for continuation of the education. Then if an assessee who has subscribed to the bonds which are issued by National Banking for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD, in such case it qualifies for deduction section 80C. So the sum of all these contributions, investments, expenditure is nothing but the gross qualifying amount here. So the amount of deduction under section 80C will be the gross qualifying amount or maximum of rupees 1,50,000, whichever is lower or lesser will be allowed as deduction under section 80C from the gross total income. So the difference between the gross total income and the amount of deduction section 80C to 80U is nothing but the total income on which tax liability is ascertained. And one more thing should be noted, that the maximum amount of deduction under section 80C, 80CCC and 80CCD shall not exceed rupees 1,50,000. This is point to be noted here. Section 80C individually, it can maximum amount of deduction can claim is rupees 1,50,000. And even the investments in NSC that qualifies for deduction under section 80C, which is skipped here, the investment made by the assessee in NSC including accrued interest qualifies for deduction under section 80C here. Then now let's move to the next one here, section 80CCC or 80CCC. If an individual pays for the pension fund established by or set up by life insurance corporation or mutual fund or organization and other companies, such investment will be qualified for a maximum of rupees 1,50,000. So this 1,50,000 is the ceiling limit. It is the maximum. Suppose if the assessee's contribution is lesser than this year, then actual contribution or rupees maximum of rupees 1,50,000, whichever is lower is allowed as deduction under section 80C. Then the next one comes here, section 80CCD1, contribution to pension scheme of a central government or any other employer. Please do remember that this is the deduction which can be claimed by an assessee who is engaged in employment in a government sector and who is employed in even in the private sector also. So who can claim deduction here? So the assessee, either he must be employed or he may be self-employed. The maximum amount of deduction will be employee's contribution not exceeding 10% of the basic salary plus DA if the DA is considered as a part of retirement benefit in case of employee, or 10% of the gross total income in case of others here. Here others means the person who may be running his own business, he can also contribute towards the pension fund scheme set up by the central government or any other employer here. However, any pension or annuity received on the maturity of this fund is fully chargeable to tax here. If the employer also contributes towards such a fund here, so the such maximum contribution shall not exceed 10% of the salary of the employee, is not qualifying for deduction section 80 CCD here. Then employer's contribution to national pension scheme. This is which has introduced very recently. So employer's contribution to national pension scheme is taxable under the head salary here. Contribution to the employer is deductible out of the gross total income under section 80 CCD up to maximum of 10% of salary. Again, the meaning of salary for this purpose is basic salary plus DA if it is retirement benefit. Then the section 80 CCD here, 80 CCD 1B, it is called as additional deduction in respect of the contribution to national new pension scheme. So here there is an additional deduction up to maximum of rupees 50,000 is allowed here. Please do remember that this is in addition to rupees 1,50,000. So in other words, to say the assessee can claim deduction of rupees total 2 lakhs here. So there is an additional deduction up to maximum of rupees 50,000 is allowed as deduction in respect of any amount paid for contribution made by any individual assessee under the NPS. On this additional contribution, the ceiling of rupees 1,50,000 is not applicable. So if the assessee makes further investment in the NPS, so he can claim an addition of rupees 50,000 along with rupees 1,50,000. There's a point to be noted is that the NPS limited to 10% of the salary of the employee or any other person to the extent of 20% of the gross total income under section 80 CCD1 is covered under the overall ceiling limit of rupees 1,50,000. Only additional contribution is covered under section 80 CCD1B here. So these are the deductions which are related with the encouraging the assessee to save the money here. So which will not only help individually the assessee, but also it helps the government in a mobilization of the savings, and such mobilized amount of savings can be further utilized in the constructive activities of the government, and ultimately it leads in achieving the objective of welfare states here. Thank you for watching this video.